Quick demo. You'll see how bad I am with names. So you guys should be able to see me in that camera. I'm orange, red, and yellow. So with that said, I'm the warmest thing inside the camera, which is that orange, red, and yellow. Everything around me should be blue or black. The blue and black are obviously the colder spots. We're looking for cold spots to move on their own. There should always be a cold spot in there somewhere. The fact is it morphing? Is it changing? Is it moving intelligently? So does this camera catch something every single night? It does not. However, it does give us the best perspective of everything happening around us. It does record video and audio, and you will get the full video back tomorrow morning. So, let's see here. I'm losing names already. Tim. How did I forget Tim? So Tim, you're going to be my cameraman. It is already recording. So the orange square on there is the record button. So if it turns to a circle, just let me know. We are going to splice some video because like in the middle of this, we're going to be taking a walk like through 3 blocks. Yeah. And the app has been acting really funny with the new software update. Okay. So I actually updated the camera thinking that was the problem. So we're working with like pro-tech stuff here. But it's not the software or the hardware, it's the software. So we're going to stop it and restart it. And I'll kind of give you the cues for that. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Because it's so hot and humid, does that make those cold spots even more noticeable?
Not necessarily. So we are going to try to keep a person in view at all times, simply because we are going to be the warmest thing out here, regardless of the hot and humidity. So with that said, everything else around us kind of goes along with the normal temperature. So he should see an array of color in there. Granted, he keeps a person in view. So if he keeps a person in view, we will see that array of color, and everything will fluctuate based on the normal temperature. So even in January, it's going to look identical, just the numbers are going to be different. All right, next camera. So let's kind of get into this. So this guy, you guys should notice, not me in the picture, hopefully, because it's going to be dark. Right, so with this one, we're going to turn on some lights. So this is full spectrum lighting. This is light we cannot see with our own eyes. So I should be in a purple, pinkish type hue. So this is, again, going to hopefully illuminate some things that we can't see with our own eyes. So really what we're looking for on this guy when you guys get your video back from this are things in the dark spots. If something in the darker spot, not necessarily the purple guy in the middle, is something over here that's going to reflect light back to us that isn't supposed to be there. So we're not going to record the entire duration with this because it only has so much life on it, not to mention the files are huge. So, horrible at names tonight. Joe. Either John or Joe. I knew it was a J. So, with that said, I'll kind of go through some more things. This is really just a quick intro to get you guys, your devices in your hands. The first location, I'm going to work one-on-one with you guys to show you more tactics. So just so you guys can get a gist of like why I'm bouncing around like this. So spirit boxes. Let's get into that. So spirit boxes are interesting because they're a way for us to communicate with the dead. So with that said, this one is going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations at a very quick rate. It's kind of like your TV shows with the white noise, and then Zach Bagans tells you what he thinks he heard in the middle of the screen. Yeah, we're going to be doing that in real time, only mine are slowed down on purpose. I want the radio chatter to come through. Disembodied voices, like what you guys hear on TV, are a rarity. Okay, so it's not like every night I'm going to be able to catch a disembodied voice. I need you guys to have some kind of voices to be able to pick from. The radio chatter is going to be song lyrics, DJs, and commercials. Little bits of that are going to come through at a time. In the event we can make it out, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, something I'm talking about in history, or even something going on with one of us. The cool thing about this one in particular is it's going to record the entire session for us, even on mute and no background noise. So when I give you this recording back tomorrow, it comes with about 15 to 20 markers of things that I found, whether they're relevant or not. In the event they are relevant, it'll have an explanation and then a backlink to tell you why it's relevant. It's not because your tour guide told you it was relevant, it's because Botanica.org said so. So again, we're going to verify. I'm not just making stuff up out here. Was it Michelle? Yes. I remember Michelle, she has a Led Zeppelin t-shirt on. So, and the irony of how I put that together as a writer, my 2 favorite bands, the Beatles and Led Zeppelin. And of course, Michelle, my belle, is the first song that popped in my head when she said her name. And I'm like, oh, she's got my 2 favorite bands, we got it covered. So her name is going to be... Were you really? Yeah. Interesting. See there? I must be psychic too. So this is already recording at a nice even level for you guys. So even when I tell Michelle to turn it down, it's okay, it's recording. You're going to have that back in the morning. So you have one button to worry about. You're going to control the volume with the wheel. Okay? So when I'm talking to the whole group, you're going to keep it on the down low, obviously, so I'm not shouting over top of it. Let's see here. The next spirit box is a little different. I do have the standard SP7 that you guys see on TV, but it doesn't record anything. So we're going to stick to the devices that record. So this one is going to give us a word in the center of the screen from time to time. So it's going to save all of those words to a list. I'll be honest, last night they had 88 terms and they did not have much come out of this at all. Normally, only about 20% of the words that come up, like are up to 20%, can be relevant to the location, history, or one of us. Same principle with the one Michelle has. So again, a lot of times whoever has this and it said, oh, it said the word leaf. Well, that's 80%. That's the 80% BS that doesn't mean anything. Again, this app is meant to be a game. So the game we're playing is it coming from a ghost or is it coming from the app? So again, we're going to try to make that determination based on our location. So Leah, that one goes to you.
All right.
Let's see, what do we want to get into next? All right. EMF meters, pretty standard stuff. These are pretty much must-haves when you're ghost hunting. It's going to measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. Obviously, something natural is not going to make it do anything. Electronic devices are going to make it go into a rhythm or a pulse. So that's my cell phone. It's going to make it go into, obviously a beat of some sort. We want this thing to go erratic. So, Mel, you're going to be the first person to let us know something is actually happening. Okay. Last but not least, you're multitasking for me. So this one has 3 different jobs to it. So the first job that it has basically an EMF meter built into it. So the big numbers you see on the red screen, anything above 2.5 is her second green dot. So anything above 2.5, we want to look for that rhythm and change. The second thing that it has, and the reason why I'm putting it with your group, is because I'm assuming mom, dad, son? Is that the relationship here? Yeah. So in case dad finds something on his camera, we have the ambient temperature being measured by the yellow probe. We can either prove it or debunk it pretty quickly. Last but not least, it actually has a REM pod built in, which detects motion. So once something gets close to the antenna, it's going to go off. We're next to wiring and whatnot, so it's going to make it go off a little bit. I'm going to teach you more about this in a calmer setting. So for now, just leave the little flap open and the antenna pushed in. The little flap is on the back. So just focus on the 2 numbers for now, and I'll show you more about that at our first location. Everybody's geared up, correct?
Yep.
Now, I do have lasers and all kinds of other mess, so again, those devices don't record. So, I mean, it does take pictures and things like that, but I wanted you guys to actually have things that's going to give you something to watch, something to listen to.
Yeah.
And the word list, just so you know, I'm going to be constant with you about the word list, like where we're at.
Okay.
So, just so you know. All right. So, let me tell you why we started here. You guys made my bag a little lighter, so you took about 20 pounds out of here. So overall, the bag's like 40 pounds because I have batteries and all kinds of extras in here to make sure we're covered. So, not to mention, when I asked you guys your names, did you guys all notice I repeated them back?
Yes.
I have audio being recorded right now. It stays on my shoulder. You're going to have that for 2 reasons. So first off, I need to know what your names are in the morning. I don't listen to anything else other than that in the event I can't remember somebody's name. The rest of it is for the weird stories I'm going to tell you. This is not stuff we're going to be able to say, what was that football player's name again? Because you're never going to remember. It's on the audio. The other thing about it is you're going to be listening for EVPs, voices you cannot hear with your own ears. We use electronics for that. I don't plug anything into it. All I do is simply upload it and use it if I have to. That's the only thing I use it for. The rest of it's up to you. You guys are going to have my full contact info when we're done. So that way, in case you guys do find something on this, please get in contact with me and I'll either prove it or debunk it pretty quick. So I'm really fast on the phone. Which, by the way, did you 2 get text from me? Somebody didn't respond.
I did.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't respond.
It's okay.
I got it.
It's okay. That's why I asked. I used to ask, like, what state are you from? But now that's in the questionnaire on the booking site. So I'm like, I'm going to take that out. That's annoying. Seems like a robot. So anyway, the place where we started. This place used to be called Big John's. It looks like they're going to rename it that. They're renovating the place right now. But Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. So he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, that they were coming over, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. John has the bartender throw them out. They leave. They come back the next day, they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on, a little bar fight breaks out. John is pounding these guys into the floor. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up, he goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender to get him another beer and get the guys on the floor that he just beat up in ambulance. So John's the one that got shot, so I just want to point that out, and he's the one that got up. Second off, nobody died in that story, so what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. It used to still be here, but they're renovating the place. I'll have to go back and verify once they're done. People that sit in front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headache, those kind of light symptoms. I bring the story up here on purpose. It's the reason why we start here. Anybody feels any of those type of symptoms, I need to know immediately. We will move the whole group out of the area. I won't say that people haven't passed out from this tour before. So, not to scare anybody, because it's not what we're about here, but again, it can and has happened. So, again, let's not talk about our own health. So, let's talk about the same building. Have you guys taken any kind of Charleston tours at all? Nothing? On it?
Yeah. We did the carriage ride.
Okay, so I'm going to mention the earthquake a couple of times tonight. So I know that the carriage rides talk about the earthquakes and the bolts and all that stuff. So allegedly, this is where the first death occurred from the big earthquake of 1886. It's a big one for us because this is South Carolina. We don't get earthquakes. So the mantle you guys see in the middle of the building, it also wraps around the front. So a piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and apparently killed him. And apparently you can see his ghost in the middle of these spaces in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, see, now it's all smiles again. Nice. Are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yeah.
Lucas, you ready?
Yep.
Your name's going to be easy to remember and you're going to find out why later.
All right.
So, come on, let's go this way.
Okay. That was fucking sweaty. What?
The good thing about a weekday is it feels like we have the whole city to ourselves. So it's definitely not a Friday or Saturday. And it's noisy and bars are screaming at me the whole night. Alright, so welcome to level 1. Every location we go to where we're actually going to investigate, because there is a little myths and legends portion right in the middle, just because it's a more populated area, is going to kind of be a new lesson. It's going to be the next level up. This one's very easy, so we're going to make things nice and simple. It's a one-liner piece of history. This is the Big Red Barn lot. Okay, so this is where we keep your horses for your carriage rides. Okay, so yeah, it's probably where you guys met up at. You guys can probably smell the horses. I'm in here. I'm out here 6 nights a week. If I could hear them, I wouldn't know that they're even in there. But this is the same red barn of horses that deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So with that said, there's always going to be keywords with every piece of history I give you. Over there it was 1947, obviously focus on 47, Big John, anything related to a bar, and New York Giants, right? Those were the keywords. So that's what I'll be listening for and watching for on your guys' spirit boxes, because we are using 2 different styles. This one here is obviously, it's not going to be residents of Charleston, because you're going to be listening to Charleston radio stations. So I admit anything that says Charleston. It's too coincidental. But we are looking for delivery, milk and eggs. Here's how we're going to use spirit boxes, because this is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Because if they answer no, that means somebody's here. Okay, they answered you, right? So we're going to just stay away from yes and no questions all night long. There's always a way to reword it. You're going to ask things you know about. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, you're going to be looking and listening for the color red. In the event that they can't find the color red out of a DJ song or a commercial, or in the database of your device, they might come up with something that is specifically red. Fire truck, blood, heart. These things are all specifically red. What color is the Big Red Barn? Fire truck. Makes sense to me. That's how I put these clues together. It's not going to be a full conversation. Now, in the event you don't get an answer with what color is the Big Red Barn, what's inside the barn? Now you have animals, horses, draft horses, that's the breed, delivery, milk, eggs. But milk and eggs can also be protein and calcium. So again, putting these clues together is a very, very big deal. What are we actually hearing? What are we actually getting on these spirit boxes that's going to hopefully tie into another device? I don't get excited for it. Let me point this one out. This is a great spot because they also make the big drops. In the event, let's say you get a number that says 40, and you get the word art. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. I'm not going to get excited about 40 until I have art. That makes sense? Some of the stories tonight have multiple people with the same name. I need to know who the heck I'm talking to. So in that event, I need 2 clues, always 2 clues to verify each other. That way I can tie it up and wrap it up with a bow. It's not going to be like, I'm here in the corner. I take this stuff as very vague. I need details, and you guys are here for details. I say let's go. That's the mentality I'm after here. I'm really surprised you're not getting anything.
It's been flickering to orange just every once in a while. It goes away. So just the third one in.
And that's okay. Anything off the green dot that you have now, there's going to be some locations I'm going to tell you are dead zones. This one in particular, I never know what we're going to get. Sometimes it starts as we walk in, sometimes it waits until we leave. We never know.
Okay, so yeah, it's flickering a little bit right now. It's never going past the third one, but I'm getting the second one pretty. Yeah, now it's still. But now it's doing it again. And every once in a while it's like it was kind of weird, like you were saying keywords, if that would trigger it, but they didn't.
That's where you guys need to stop. That's where you're basically.
Yeah,
so I am going to work with the thermal imaging camera first one-on-one, and then I'm going to start bouncing around with everybody. So I'll probably jump straight with the thermal and then go straight into the millimeter because he has a lot of details in his stuff too. So we're only going to be here like 5 minutes. So I would say just make a quick lap. Get used to listening to that spirit box. If you get close to the barn up there, keep it audible to just the 2 of you if that's possible. The horses don't like the light. We don't want them to hit the wall. That will scare the hell out of all of us.
Yeah.
So, are you in a comfortable side? So I left the camera on the left-hand side. No, so I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Just because most people are right-handed, and I tend to default to that, so that way you can hold it by the right, and the camera's on the left-hand side, free from fingers and all that other stuff. So I like to make a point here. Is go ahead and point your camera at the wall, and it should bleed out. So all one color.
Yeah, there's a little blue.
Got a little bit of blue coming in. Watch what happens to the wall now.
Yep, and then once you get, yeah.
So we want to try to keep that skin temperature in, so that way it has a variant to work with.
Okay.
We want that array of color. That's really what we're after.
Okay.
So I mean, we have still a decent amount of people here. I mean, there's going to be 7 of us total.
Yeah.
Try to keep somebody in view at all times.
Okay, so just keep this when I'm trying. Okay.
Yeah, even if they're off in the distance, it's perfectly fine. As long as that cable's in there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You can definitely see them, and that way, and you're going to see those dots move. That's the cool thing about watching this video tomorrow. What I do with it is I take it over to YouTube and then I send it back to my website. So you guys can download it, you can watch it on YouTube, your TV, computers, phones, and you can actually see the hottest and cold point on the video.
Okay.
So it actually records that portion. What
Sweet.
It doesn't record is the the bar of temperature on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yep.
It doesn't keep that in there.
Okay.
So you kind of have to watch the dots to see where the coldest spots are showing up at.
Okay.
So, and the sky will always be the coldest. So the less sky that you put in there, because it'll always default to put that green dot in the sky.
Yep.
So hopefully we can try to keep a lot of it out. Most people are pretty good with it.
Okay.
All right, Lucas, let me show you more about that thing.
And sorry, you'll tell me when to hit record?
It's already recording.
Oh, it is?
I'm
Okay.
going to tell you when to stop recording.
And then just hit that?
Right.
Okay.
You got it. Millimeter. So have you gotten anything out of this guy? I see it too.
I just got to keep a person in the thing at all times. So otherwise, if I get no one in there, it kind of just yeah. So I got to keep someone in. What?
Sweet.
103 degrees over there.
Do you think I'm sweet?
Yeah.
You're not mad at me?
No.
Give me a kiss.
Your backpack is extremely cold.
There's water in there.
And I'm not losing it.
Alright, so I'll wrap up this half of the family. So the only thing.
Hold that for 1
Yep,
second.
sure
Sorry, I
can.
just want to take a
I'll
quick
even
look.
demonstrate of what we. When I say I need the list of where we're at, you just hit the little scroll, and then it'll bring you everything that we have so far.
What are you getting, kid?
Yeah, again, it's meant to. I don't see anything that's going to be relevant, and then the only thing you'll ever need to hit is that top right circle map.
Got it.
So, see where we're at with the list, and you'll bring off like the last one.
Okay.
That's crazy. His water's at 96 degrees. What are you hitting?
Got a ghost.
Yeah, probably.
Right there?
Oh, I don't know.
What did he say?
I'll tell you.
Come on, Lucas.
I know what he's saying.
Huh?
I know what he's saying.
Oh, don't be a jerk.
Wait, but it's doing that?
No, that's just because I'm not moving.
Oh.
See? I just said to reset.
What is that, Dad?
This is making tons of noise all of a sudden.
What?
So as far as everybody, again, it might not be similar, it might not be giving you all the details, but I can always prove it. If I did, I can't prove it. As far as your camera, so again, look at the things that are at the next location. I want you to kind of play with the vehicle.
You're 115 degrees. This is really cold. Ooh. Yes.
I want that camera.
Alright guys, let's go learn that history. Let's do this. Everybody's
Good.
got their devices down.
Yep.
Got anything else weird on yours? Okay.
Dude, yours is beeping like crazy.
So I normally give that to females. They walk more gracefully than us. So with our movements, it's gonna. I mean, you guys can interchange among your own family. I don't care. But at the same token, like it's gonna jostle with all of our steps just as we walk.
Is it crazy if you'd see a ghost out here right now?
This is on Ghostbusters with the EKG meter that they have.
That's what I was thinking of.
Nothing now. I got going crazy the whole time.
You're also on our sidewalks that have electrical lines for the parking meters underneath them. So if you're going crazy back there, it's because...
No, I was saying it was going crazy the whole time we were in the alley. As soon as we left the alley, it stopped. And now
Should it?
it's doing it again.
Well, that's because of the lot we're in.
This lot?
Yes. So, let's move on everybody down this way. Give you guys the history, and I'll let you guys loose in here. So, this is a site that the other tours. Let's go ahead and turn that guy off. So antenna in, white button, and we're gonna keep yours down at least until I release everybody out. So, by the way, if you guys don't know where to park by the time you're done with me, then you guys have issues I can't fix because I do find a good, lot of parking lots. In this particular site, we are not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the red barn over there. We're gonna hopefully, fingers crossed, get answers from our 2 spirit boxes that we have running. So I will kind of give you impromptu questions. You can use them, you can go road, you can do whatever you want to do. Cameras in here, before I really get started into the history, people get a little funny about their cars. Just think about if your vehicle was parked here. So we're not going to be stopping to film vehicles. Even though if I was a car thief, Tim, I would definitely be taking your camera along everywhere I go because I know how long the vehicle's been there.
Yep.
No ideas. So what is this place? This is the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site. So the name Pinckney is pretty prominent here in Charleston. We actually met on Pinckney Street in East Bay. That was the corner, just to kind of give you the site. So who the heck were these people? Charles? That's really bad if the Fed's not going to start. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina, but you guys were all on vacation and nobody wants to talk politics. It's 2021. I don't want to talk politics either. Let's talk about Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to give you what that age is. Obviously, that's a spirit box question. But Charles was over double her age. If that kind of gives you the age gap between them, it's pretty big. Let's see. So when she married him, it was because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. So he was calling them all home. She didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put. It's the 1700s. There's no such thing as colonial, or as far as citizenship yet. So again, she did it out of love. This was an actual marriage, not out of arrangement. I know, odd for the times, but it was legit. So, especially to such an older man. But anyway, she was right. Dad didn't die. He started sending over gifts from England. So one of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have been here for at least a day or so that I know of. You guys have seen the word indigo a few times and didn't even realize why it's so prominent here. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye. If you're looking for bulldog, they're down the road. Are you looking for bulldog?
Bulldog.
Graveyard tours.
Graveyard tour.
Well, this is a ghost hunting tour, so your graveyard tour is at bulldog tours. You're going to go down the road.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Quick question.
Yes.
So the video, this should be going, right? Is it going or not? I mean,
No. After the history, we're going to go ahead and click that. So,
Okay, good.
Because everybody's going to have the history here anyway.
perfect. Okay,
Or
good.
did you want the little snafu we just had?
Yeah. Okay.
So there is it's called church. What is it? Church and cemetery, church and graveyard tour, or whatever
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
and everybody mistakes it for mine. And it's like I'm the only ghost hunting tour in town. Like I'll even put it out there. I'm the only one that goes to this extent in the country.
Yeah.
So even Savannah has a tour similar to this, but they have a cheap version of the thermal imaging, and about 4 or 5 of those, and they say, "Let's go ghost hunting." And it's kind of like, all right, have a good time. But anyway, back to where we were. So we were talking about the Pinckneys, and they got married. Dad sent over indigo, right? Is that where I was?
Yep.
Right.
So it's a plant that makes blue dye, that makes blue jeans blue, and I believe Mel is wearing it right now. So yes, that's how we still use it today. It is still a plant and crop that we use today. Rice plantations were going downhill, so Eliza saw an opportunity to turn this into a new cash crop. She learned from her fellow slaves, which were actually the serving quarters were back here, how to keep it cultivated in our weird temperatures, right where we're standing. So again, this was her garden right in front of us. So once she had it down here, she moved it over to Mount Pleasant area, just north of here, where they also had more property, very prominent family. And then she calls Dad and says, I need somewhere to sell it. So all of a sudden, she's a businesswoman in colonial times. This is huge. There's no such thing as a businesswoman in colonial times. So I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg of things that she's done for this country with her indigo. Like I said, it's a big deal. However, there's a lot of weird facts about her that we can be asking in spirit boxes. First off, I already told you the marriage thing, right? That's a weird thing. But Eliza, and I'm kind of going to give this one away, was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. They both go by their maiden name that start with the letter L. So, if you want to take a stab in the dark, Lucas, of what Eliza's maiden name was... Yeah, so hopefully it was Lucas. I'm just going to put it out there. The first wife, her maiden name also starts with the letter L. They both go by Eliza Lucas Pinckney and Eliza L, whatever that one is. Hopefully you can find out on your spirit boxes through that. So, again, when I hear his name, I'm like, okay, now I got some kind of connection to keep his name remembered. Let's see, the mansion's obviously no longer here. You can ask what happened to it and what that tragedy was. I will give you the clue that it was a tragedy. And when I say when, we're looking for the year, 2-digit, obviously, because we're not going to get the full exact. It just never happens that way. Do you have something that came up that's
It
weird?
says similarly, which kind of is a little weird when you're talking about both. have
The two
same
names,
name.
yep. Okay, welcome to Stories in a Cemetery. Weird stuff happens all the time. Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. She's pretty open about it. Hey, Eliza, when did you die? How old were you? What did you die from? Where are you buried? What U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? So, pallbearers are the guys that carry the coffins in the grave. So, again, that's a pretty big deal. Let's see, the children. Let's get into that just because it's another heated warning, kind of like the Big John thing. So, if you ask about the children, keep it simple. How many kids, how many boys, how many girls, get some names, leave it alone. There's a tragedy among those children. She doesn't want to talk about it. If she wants to talk about it, I will know based off the words and clues that you guys are telling me from your spirit boxes. So with this particular space, we are going to spread out. We're not going to get in your vehicles. Obviously, we already talked about the filming of cars. You can go ahead and start your video now at this point. So click that button that's on the top. You're not going to hurt it. You got to hold it down until it plays. Oh, you're good. Perfect. Look at that. He's got the touch. Apparently I don't. So, new device, still learning. Simple tap works. But again, we definitely want to get those spirit boxes in here loud and proud. We definitely want to get that REM pod moving in here. So you want to try to be as still as possible. Obviously, you've seen that your walking made it move around a lot. So again, you want to be still. I'm going to check in with all of you, like periodically, and kind of let you know what the other groups are doing, what we're catching on other things to see if things tie in. Spirit boxes, keep in mind, if you guys are asking questions, the answers can go anywhere. Joe's video doesn't record great audio because it's in a waterproof box. But Tim and I both have audio. The answers can go here or the two spirit boxes. We never know where it's going to fall. A lot of times when I have smaller groups of, say, 2 to 3 people, I use a spirit box and say, hey, Eliza, how many people did I bring? And then Leah turns around and says, it just said the number 6. Boom, there's 6 of you. That's a very specific number because it excludes me. So, again, keep that in mind as you guys are asking your questions. That's why I like to bounce around with all of you. We will spend a good 10 minutes in here based on the amount of activity. If it's pretty dead tonight, no pun intended, but we will move on and kind of go on to the next haunted location. Again, we never know what we're going to get, but I will tell you that this is my most active site. So, yeah. Usually whenever I say Eliza's name, is usually when we get any kind of reading.
Dead.
Of course. All right, spread out. I'm going to check you guys in on the websites that you guys bought your tickets from. So give me a few minutes, and I will be with all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't.
That car's been sitting there a while. Who, me? Right here.
Tim, I always like to show some evidence from that camera.
Okay.
Just because this is where it happened. It actually happened up in that top right-hand corner. Wrong folder. So this was about a year ago. Still probably my best piece of evidence. That's the wall up there in the corner.
Yeah.
There's 2 living people walking past. You see their heads?
Yeah.
They're orange. So there's your point of reference. There's going to be a guy here on the right, normal human, one of the people on my team. The 2 dead guys are going to show up right there. Did you see him come by?
Yeah.
I can play it again if you missed it.
Yeah, go back. I'm pretty sure I saw him.
So once it pans back over, they'll be right there next to that post, and then go past it.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what you do for a living, but
Cool.
firemen and
Construction.
mechanics actually use that for, the daily job.
Yeah,
Right? And
yeah.
I've analyzed it with them, like through Zoom calls, frame by frame.
Yeah.
And you can literally see 2 heads moving, like side by side, going past that wall.
That
We've
is-
tested it with cars and everything else going through it just to verify. You gotta remember, I'm out here
cow.
6 nights a week. I've tested
yeah.
it I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's legit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And again, they should have been the same color as the guy on the right.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 heads that were over there, they were orange for sure.
Yeah.
But
That's wild.
Can't get a little nuts out here. How's yours going? Getting any craziness? So, watch that door behind you. There's only one way in and out of here.
Okay.
It's wild.
It's a stretch, but we'll take it. Let's get the girl's name.
Oh, it's funny. It'll be like it's just going on so much.
Somebody to be over there, right?
Mm. Not yet.
I know.
Not that there's not any truth to it, but when I'm trying to put things out here, I can't go based off of one person's feelings of like, look, we're moving around.
You can't trust them.
But he was a family that came from a bar. No matter what you
So I stopped any, like, I don't know, like, stuff that said, like, inappropriate behavior, intoxication, like, I mean, and it's like, so moving around. I just stopped it.
That car's been sitting there a while. That car's been sitting there a while.
You know, 'cause it's blue.
It's cold, yeah.
You're my spouse.
Mm-hmm. Just seen that what he showed me over there in the corner. That was nuts. Yeah, cold spot. It was like 2 people. He's not moving. He's not.
He was going like this with it.
What is it? Keep it.
Do you see anything?
Uh-uh. kind of blurry, no? Oh, looks your shirt's cold. Oh, it's like blue. I don't know. Look around. It's wild.
How's yours coming along?
Yeah, it kind of waved down on it. It's
Like 9 minutes.
yeah. Whew, good. That's freaking me out there.
Anything crazy on your end?
No. Is it supposed to be like, I don't know, just something that get like people? It looks kind of like blurry. Is it supposed to be like
Because
that?
we're at a distance.
Okay.
And again,
But the closer I get, okay. I get
you're
it.
going to see white lines to help you see in 3D.
Okay.
The camera doesn't see 3D. So it puts those white outlines on there on where the temperature differences
Okay.
are to help you to decipher that.
Okay.
And the reason why it's blurry is 2D.
Okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
it only looks at surface temperature. We
Okay.
just know like, oh, that building's off in the distance because we can see it
Yeah.
based on what we normally look
Yeah. Okay.
at. Anything weird on your end?
I've got girl feet regulation.
Spouses. Too loose.
What happened? What? What? That's freaky. Okay. What? What? What?
I'm just going to give her a few more minutes. She has a lot going on with the K2 over there, so I'm just going to see if anything comes through on the spirit box.
Okay.
And Lucas's device has been going steady green over there in that corner. So obviously he's got something going on. I don't know what's wrong. He hasn't been able to get it to go past green. So it does go to different colors. So it'll go to like green, yellow, orange, purple, blue, and then red.
Huh.
So it will, like a lot of times, like I told him, we can do a call and answer. If somebody's here, make it go to blue. So that it goes to blue and stays there instead of that little flickering he's got going on there.
Yeah.
Like he's got like Morse code going on there. So that's definitely an unstable something.
I got 5-0.
Yeah, low country is a common thing down here. That's almost as common as Charleston.
What?
Stabbed. Somebody stabbed.
What's that?
Someone stabbed.
Not here. Yeah, I'm focused on a lot of things. Alright, let's all move through. Only because Lucas has a lot going on over here. Oh, we got blue. I've seen it. See him do anything else? Other than the green flickering Morse code you're getting? I've seen it flickered over to blue. I do want to get you guys some answers so we can hit as many spots as possible. Yeah, definitely pull that antenna in. Very light, vague term. You heard the word war. You also heard 5-0.
Yeah.
So there was a son named Thomas who was in the Battle of Camden. He was born in 1750. It's the only thing I can link together in my head right now. You asked if anybody was stabbed. No, he was shot in the kneecap and shattered his leg. So he actually had to walk with a cane for the rest of his days in that Battle of Camden. So again, I was kind of like waiting for all those clues around Thomas to start popping up. You may have missed a few things, which is fine. It's not. You have the hardest job out there. Just give it to you. I'm asking her to do something with her senses that she's not used to doing. So especially with the slow down on the system. So let me kind of. What are the questions were you guys asking that I might be able to answer? That you guys were most curious about before I deal with them all. Caught fire in 1861, so almost 70 years after Eliza's death. Still in the family. And that was a great fire. Every tour guide is going to tell you about a great fire of whatever year it happened in here in Charleston. This one went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. Like, it was a big fire. The mansion was just in the way. The only pictures we have of the mansion are after the fire. So again, we don't even know what it looked like in its glory, unfortunately. So, alright, any others that you guys were probing about? I'll just start going into the other ones.
You asked, you threw out some of them, like just repeating, you know, who was the pallbearer,
Okay.
the president, who was the pallbearer, how old she was when she got married, how old he was when they got married, the maiden name of the first wife. I did all of those.
Maybe that's what kind of... I'm going to go through all of them, so we'll start there. I'll just kind of do them in order. So she was 22 when she got married, when Charles was 45. So 23 years age gap between them, and sometimes we'll get 22, sometimes we'll get 23 because of the gap. Let's see, Eliza Lucas Pinckney was the first wife. For the second wife, the first wife was Eliza Lamb, like the animal lamb, L-A-M-B, Pinckney. So Lamb and Lucas were the names that were coming up there. I told you about the fire already. Eliza Lucas was 70 years old when she died in 1793. So that's a long time to be living during colonial times. She died in Philadelphia while seeking treatments for her breast cancer. They were trying to figure out what it was because there was no such thing as breast cancer in 1793. So we're going based off her medical records. We now know that it's cancer. So again, cancer will show up here on spirit boxes often. The pallbearer, George Washington. So yes, George Washington, was an honor for him just as much as it would have been for Eliza if she were alive to see it. So it's a pretty big deal. Washington knew the Pinckneys pretty well because there was a lot of politicians in the family. He did spend a lot of time with his governors, and several of them were in the Pinckney family. So again, very interesting that George Washington took her to her grave. I'm trying to think, what else did we go after? Oh, the kids. So I already gave you Charles and Thomas. Then there was baby George. So George didn't make it. We don't know if George was either days or weeks old. There's no grave for this child, and the death certificate only states the month and year are the same as the birth and death. So we have no idea how old the baby was. Keep in mind, George was named after Eliza's father. So there's 3 Georges. We have the president, the son, and the father. So keep in mind too, with what would Eliza's father's name be then? Now that you know her maiden name and the first name. George Lucas, right. So, again, some people don't get that reference. So it's kind of like, I try to make this fun and light, everybody. Let's do some quizzing.
Right now.
Oh, it does say joke.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody's listening in. Because even when I was talking about the Elizas, it said similarly. Similarly. So, very interesting. Let's see. And then there was, one daughter. So we did get the term girl. So, again, singular. One daughter, her name was Harriet. Anything related to letter writing usually will pop up here, especially in relation to the daughter. So I was waiting for ink, pen, paper, anything, published book, because all of those letters were published in a book because her daughter married in Horry. Myrtle Beach, about 2.5 hours from here, is Horry County. So that's where she lived. It wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride. It probably would have been a half a day's carriage ride. So just to kind of put that in perspective. So it's more letter writing than it was going to see her daughter. But again, we did get the term girl. Hopefully I can get something else out of it. Harriet is a weird name to come up with there, but I have had it here. So again, it's not a name we don't hear on the radio often. So again, very interesting. I think that covers this, and I'm saying about the little bit of activity we just had in this corner. Obviously yours was going nuts. I took note of that. We can definitely stop the recording here, Joe, on your end. Same thing for you, Tim. Go ahead and stop your recording. We're going to take that close.
Camera?
Here. So, did we hear any names along the way, or just what you told me about the numbers?
Yeah, just numbers.
All right. So when we crossed that last crosswalk coming over down East Bay Street, that was where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. It went up Cumberland. So this would have been one of the first streets we ever had in the original Charlestown. So this is Lodge Alley. It was called all kinds of things over the years, but it was mainly Lodge Alley because this is where the Freemasons had their Masonic lodge. So we do get the word Freemason or Mason. Did you get any names? I'm sorry, I didn't ask you.
No names.
Okay. The reason why I asked for names is because these 2 buildings obviously were here all the time. So, I have a full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. So the names that come up are Benjamin and John. With that said, there's 4 different Johns that lived here during a 60-year span. So sometimes he'll give us his ironic thing about Benjamin and John is they both lived here in 1801. John's last name was Johnson. But I did get a third name just last week. It was Jane. Looked up Jane on the list, 1801. So it must have been a very prominent year of the 5 people that lived here in 1801, because I have 3 out of the 5 names. So let's see if Jane shows up again, hopefully in the near future. But again, these are original bricks. This is a very interesting alley. And again, it is a little darker than normal. So this could be very interesting footage that Tim's getting for us, just to see how things are going on both ends. They're kind of taking a video of each other, which is kind of ironic. So we'll see what happens. From here, we're going to walk through the rest of this alley. We are going to be in a neighborhood. We're going to be just cutting through to get to our next spot. We're going to learn some myths and legends. Kind of have a seat for a few, give you guys a little bit of a break, and we're going to dive into a female pirate across the street at the Powder Magazine. It'll be a full-blown open operation like what we did at the Pinky Mansion site. We are going to see some other much larger tours. Some people like to stop and ask you guys questions about what the hell am I doing, that kind of thing. It's fine. I know, right? I know you guys joined the weird group tonight, just so you guys know. Even though I've been out here for 2 years, it's been interesting on how many people still stop us. But again, I just stay out of their way. So when I get up to that corner, I kind of look to see, like, is my normal spot open, or do I got to take you guys somewhere else? Just because I just stay out of it. I am going to pay attention particularly to your list, because there's going to be like 10 different stories on that last street corner. I like to kind of, what stories do I need to tell based off the clues I'm getting from your list? Again, I let the evidence dictate what I'm going to tell you. If there's nothing there, I'll say, okay, there's nothing there. Here's my 2 normal stories that I tell you. So hopefully that'll give us something. So we'll kind of go along with what's actually happening around us, which just feels like someone's following us around all night, especially if it's creepy dark alley.
So I think it's hard. It was like kind of.
My son was saying when he was talking about all the stories that you can tell, like lots of stories.
Recording down that awful street down there.
Yeah, well, I don't think that way. I don't know if you're supposed to right now either.
Gotta listen to that.
Should I ask him?
Oh, yeah, you can leave it there. Isn't this very dark right here?
It's really cold. What?
Huh?
What? Yeah. Are we done?
No. We gotta go to that Powder Magazine place.
Any questions? See any way of talking back. See all my books, my podcast. You can probably save some film on your end. Actually, we'll talk about it. How much you talking about? So at the last stop, before we start recording, we're going to swap your battery.
Don't walk into that pool.
I know it down there. Carry 3 batteries to make that thing.
Good. What's that?
Being the perfect cameraman.
Yeah. There's that nice.
You can actually have a seat here. We got a little bit of a break. Leah, let's go over your list and see what you got going on.
The last words I had were prison, bike, dense, island, enormous, combat, and announcement.
That's that shit. Yeah.
Definitely tell school starting to speak like normal. This whole corner is just littered with tools. So it's kind of nice to be one of the few that gets our tools. So thank you guys, that's appreciated. All right, this one's a doozy. The bag comes off for a few minutes. Let the bag cure out. So after I'm done telling the history, you and I will stop, swap out your batteries, and then everybody else starts to spread out. So let's kind of give you guys the history of the building first before we get into things. So I told you guys about the Charlestown Wall back over in Lodge Alley. This is Cumberland. This is the street where the wall was. So again, we're still on the inside of the original Charlestown. This is the gunpowder magazine, the building with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts are just behind them is around turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like we did in 1886, you can turn them and it'll straighten the building back up. Great theory, but it doesn't work, just so you know. Those are the very first earthquake bolts that they put in because this is the oldest government building on the East Coast. Like 1713 was the year that it was finished. It's also just inside the original Charlestown walls on purpose. It literally, the wall went up Cumberland about half a block and started going south. So again, it's tucked right into the corner. If it gets attacked by cannon 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time going through the 32-inch thick walls. Maybe that. So as it goes through, let's say it actually hits the gunpowder and blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof underneath those shingles from 1712 that's supposed to go up in the air and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Another great idea, but doesn't work. And another powder magazine closer to the battery got struck, sand went up, couldn't put out the fire, burned to the ground, no longer exists. So this one has never been attacked. It's served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. So, we give you all of that history of this building because our story starts in the middle of its construction. It took a whole decade to finish this. We had 1708. Follow me, there's a lot of twists. A young lady moves here named Anne Cormack with her dad and his mistress, who happens to be her mom. You guys with me so far? 3 of them are getting away from his wife from Ireland in 1708. Like, how mad was this wife? That's all I'm going to put out there for that one. So, they move here. Obviously, this building is familiar. We're going to fast forward to when this building's done, and now it's 1715. So, pirates are coming through town. Mom has already passed away. Dad owns a plantation in the Georgetown area, about an hour north of here. He sends his daughter down here to sell whatever, plants and whatever the crops are. Building is familiar. And when she was a child, rumor had it that she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. So you asked me about a stabbing earlier. That's the first stabbing that pops up in my head. I'm just giving you the mentality of what this young lady was like. So when pirates are coming through town, it's a big deal. She's excited. Now, she falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. So, again, what does she do? She runs away to Jamaica. She's going to get married. Now she becomes Anne Bonney, the most legendary pirate of the Golden Age. So this is a pretty big deal, especially the history here. So when she gets there, she realizes that James Bonney, her new husband, is not who she thought he was. He's not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. She wanted that badass pirate. This is not him. He's a privateer. He's a coward. He's a spy for the British. So she falls in love again. We're on guy number 2. I'll keep telling. This guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. We're going to call him Jack throughout the rest of the story. Calico Jack he's called that because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. So he's a pretty dapper young guy. He is the Captain Jack Sparrow guy that she wanted. He has his own ship. He's all buccaneer kind of style. And this is what she wants. She wants to be part of that crew. Females curse pirate ships. He says in order for you to be on the crew, you have to dress like the crew. Meaning she's got to dress like a guy to hide her gender. So she's okay with this because Dad, back in Ireland, used to dress her like a boy to hide her away from his wife. So she gets it. She just wants to be a pirate. So she dresses like a guy. She's part of the crew. She's allowed to be a female in his quarters. Ta-da! She's pregnant. So that's how that all went down. Trying to keep it PG-13 based on our age group tonight. So obviously you cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the child. Come back. We'll figure it out. She comes back after having the baby with no baby. We don't know what happened. Now, she's also dressed like a female. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. Jack is mad. Like, he's pretty angry. He's got a girl on his crew, and everybody knows it. He just also captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's gonna go flirt with these guys to make him even more mad. Remember, she's not all apologetic. She's gonna go after and make him even more angry. So this is guy number 3. The guy she's flirting with turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So, with that said, we now have 2 females doing the exact same thing. She convinces this young lady, whose name was Mary Reed, to become part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send the entire fleet after them. All the men are down below deck watching the other pirate crew. Anne and Mary are the only 2 fighting back. Honestly, the ship's going to get captured, okay? So Anne Bonny's last words to Jack were, you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. So the word dog shows up here quite often as well. The judge, he wants to see the 2 men that fought back on their own by themselves. He tries and hangs all the other guys, including Calico Jack. They're all dead. The 2 ladies go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't care. They're still pirates in his eyes. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant out of the last attempt to try to save themselves, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He says fine. He sends them both back to jail to delay the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries again. That's guy number 4. Has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yeah, that's all we know, by the way, after she got home. As far as Mary Reed goes, she's a pirate in a Jamaican jail. She died from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail in 1721, a year later. So November 28th, 1720 is hopefully something we will get clues to. So 20, 28, or 11. Those are big numbers for you. The only 2 things that I know for fact that I did not give you that you can be asking on your spirit boxes is the name of Calico Jack's ship and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever you want. We're looking for those kind of reactions, especially like what we saw earlier on this list about things happening around us. You ask a question, hopefully it's an answer. Again, can I prove it or disprove it? It depends on which story. There's millions of versions of this story. This is normally a dead zone for EMF, so your REM pod, if you get anything, it's exciting. Cameras, once I get you guys, or get yours squared away, you can go to the front of the building and get some footage if you want, as long as you're not interrupting other tours. Put your hand right inside the front yard, get some quick footage, come on back. But we definitely want that thing going. Keep in mind those are apartments back there, so we're looking at the front of the building. But everybody spread out.
I can get those done. I don't understand.
Huh?
I don't understand. He said I need to get people in it.
So you can tell the difference.
Oh wow. What's going on? Are they coming? Are they going there?
We can go after them.
Yeah. got blue. Lucas has got blue. Lucas has got blue. Blue and purple. Oh, wait till they're done. You're done? What? For what? What did they say? What's up, Lucas? Getting a lot of readings.
Check out there, not it.
Where? for getting me. Huh? I can't really tell. Lucas is getting blue over there. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little worried that Lucas is bored.
Huh? No, he's got a bunch. He's getting like.
I know he
blue
has.
lights.
I know I've been watching him. But he hasn't moved from that spot. I want to try to test him. Alright, so that thing's been going nuts over there.
Yeah, it's going crazy.
He doesn't know if he believes it.
Who, that guy?
No, Lucas.
Why?
I don't know. I think he's skeptical.
Set it down. Just make sure it's not moving.
I thought that's right.
He's just been so quiet tonight. Is that his normal MO?
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is the method I'll use it on actually in an investigation when I'll set it down. Leah, you got anything else popping up?
Teacher.
Teacher?
Yeah.
Alright, come on over. Let me tell you about the teacher. Any names?
No, just the last word was father and then teacher after it.
Well, teach. When you see that word, it's different relations to this thing. So the first one, Blackbeard's real name was Edward Teach. So when I see the word teach, I'm like, alright, I'm talking about Blackbeard. Loose relation. But the other thing is that there was an actual teacher over on King Street. Food and sports. The restaurant. Zoe St. Juan was a school teacher. We are only one block away from her. Her name will often come up here as well, with her occupation, the word stairs, which is all about the stairs, which is how Elizabeth will show up. Like, I get all kinds of things. Yeah, it happens all the time. So, again, that's the first clue. This teacher ain't no house.
No, I got guilty.
She's
by the
right there.
cemetery. That humidity just spiked, didn't it?
Yes. It got stagnant.
So, fun fact about the St. Philip steeple, because of the earthquake, it is slightly off. We can't notice it, but it is slightly off.
Huh.
Alright, so I'm going to let, because they're listening in, kind of give you guys the gist of like what's going to happen from here. I'm going to start collecting devices. I'll get you guys my cards so you guys can check out the website, have my contact info and all that stuff. This was pretty light in this location, so the names of the stuff that I was waiting for, the name of the ship was the Kingston, so I wait for anything dealing with royalty or the word specifically king. And then the name of the parents were William Cormac and Mary Brennan. So it's another double names, because remember we had Mary Reed. So again, one night I had one kid listening to a spirit box and he got both names without me telling him anything. He could come back, he's like, was William the father's name? I'm like, yeah, good job. He comes back 5 minutes later and he's like, Mary? He's like, Mary Reed? I'm like, no, Mary Brennan, you have the other parent. So like, great job. Like we had both of them in the same night, so that was cool stuff. We did get some spikes on blue close to that tree over there. So, I mean, again, he was still as a statue as he has been all night. He did a great job with that device. He seemed to be a pretty calm person anyway. He didn't get any EMF reading. So, again, my first indication is that it was the light, but he's not getting an EMF reading. He's just getting interruption on the REM pod. So it just means he had something going on over there. I pulled him out to test him to see if it was just following him around, and it's been dead ever since. You went up to that cemetery. Any names come up over there?
Still on teacher.
Still on teacher. So the interesting thing, you guys will hear that on the audio. There's actually Coogan's Porch nearby. Story of Zoe. She was a school teacher. A lot of things come by on that. So again, I wait for ghost clues like that by across the street from where we work. But there's two different sides to St. Philip Cemetery, by the way. You can actually visit this side on over here. The other side where we were sitting is for native Charlestonians only. This one is for everybody else. So if you're not from here, you get buried on this side. Your 7th Vice President in Calhoun, he's actually buried over here. You can visit his sarcophagus during the daytime. So he got moved several times as they try to figure out which side he was supposed to be on. So very interesting if you're a history nut. But yeah, I'm going to start collecting the devices. You guys can ask me a million questions. I'm an open book. So I just checked the timer on things. So I like to kind of give you a gist of how much time you're going to have as far as your data goes. You're still looking at probably close to 6 to 7 hours worth of data to listen to, just based on the audio, because that gets started first. So again, about 2 hours all the way around on things, so about 6 to 7 hours total, not to mention all the links I'll be giving you on all the stories, so that way you guys can verify them. Some of those are articles that I wrote based on my own investigation. Some of you are asking about the podcast that is at the top of your data page, along with the devices and apps that I use and I trust. So again, as far as some apps, most of them are junk. The ones that I trust are listed at the top. So if you do this often, as I feel like you do, there's some apps that are safe that you can use. So again, just kind of keep that in mind. What questions do you guys have for me? A lot different than the giant groups you saw walking by, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm just going to go, of course, was that you making the go on? Wanted something extra. Nice job.